What a day. Another long office day. Fortunately, spring is coming. It's not here yet. It's been snowing. So I know technically it's spring, but it's not really spring. In fact, it is trying to snow right now. It was a good day though. We had a all-day meeting discussing a particular piece of country that we're doing a NEPA process on. NEPA is National Environmental Protection Act, which is very, very complicated when it comes to managing public land. And that's for public land grazing. It's for multiple use. So you got public land grazing, timber, minerals, recreation, and balancing for all of those is very, very difficult. But they all have important parts to play. And with range particularly, we're working on a bunch of stuff today, and I can't go into detail about those aspects of my job and the meetings and stuff. But one thing I can say that it was interesting to put out there. The meeting was for the most part pretty positive. Most of those guys they work okay with us, even though sometimes they like to grumble about the Forest Service a little bit. But there was a moment there where I had the opportunity to just say, okay, you know, everybody knows that there's a love-hate relationship between ranchers and the Forest Service. And I think in most cases ranchers just pretty much hate the Forest Service. But I said, think of it this way. I said, if you think about the special interest groups or environmental radicals that are sue happy, and they sue and sue and sue to try and get their way, or to try to end public land grazing, I said, if you take the Forest Service away, if we just weren't there, and it was just you managing your own range, would you be able to defend yourselves against these lawsuits? And they said, what do you mean? I said, well, a judge who is not from here is going to be making a decision in a lawsuit, and a judge is going to base his decision off of data. That's how they have to work. They have to base decisions off of the best facts possible. Well, if those environmental radical groups are going out and collecting biased data, it's more data than what you as ranchers have been actually collecting yourself. So I got a bunch of like, it's a good way to look at it. Yeah, we couldn't do it. So regardless of what you personally think about whether the Forest Service is necessary or not, I will tell you that it is. And whether your view of whether Forest Service or BLM is even constitutional, I'm not going to argue that with you. But what I will say is, given the current state of affairs, because these sue-happy groups have figured out how to work the judicial system, it is more important than ever for these factions who use the forest to have their own data. And that's just not something that's been done traditionally in ranching. You don't see many ranchers out there with photo monitoring boards or rulers and stuff like that. But there are some. I mean, I happen to be the son of one who was very, very successful and influential in that area. They probably did more monitoring as a rancher than any rancher I know. So I do understand both sides. I'm in a weird situation where I'm from big ranching, but I work for the federal government in range management. So the next time you get caught in a conversation and you're tempted to really cuss the Forest Service, or somebody else is really cussing the Forest Service, and you're a rancher, I want you to really think about that. Would I be able to defend myself, defend my grazing, if I was sued? And that should do a couple things. One, it should give you a little bit of appreciation for people like me who bust our butts to get that data, and we really do care about the range and the health of the resource. The other thing that should do is get you start thinking about doing your own monitoring, about carrying a camera and a whiteboard and a ruler with you in your truck. Carrying a ruler and a disposable camera in your saddlebags would be invaluable. And then you can turn that data into your Forest Service, or a copy of it into your Forest Service or BLM RangeCon too, and they can put it in your file. But if you don't have any data of your own, you're pretty vulnerable. So before you cuss us, maybe cut us a little slack and realize that we're working really hard. And maybe not everybody thinks exactly the same way you do, but if there's a problem with a lack of education, there's only one person that you can really influence to make a difference in that case, and that's yourself. If you really would like people to see things from your point of view, it's your responsibility to share your story.